Hey everyone, I wanted to do a video. I've kind of wanted to do something like this in a while. I just haven't been able to, and I haven't been able to work on that podcast really all that much. Um, I wanted to touch, I don't believe I've really touched on this much, but stimulants and like nootropics and stuff like that. Because I am into like some, for lack of a better term, like biohacking and like bro science and stuff like that. I wouldn't say bro science because I feel like I research and kind of look into things quite a bit. I do experiment quite a bit, but I don't just like kind of wing it. Um, but yeah, I know they're like really popular and people use them for a number of reasons, either for like performance enhancing or a lot of times like I have used them some, I would say some, and all legal ones, like nothing illicit or anything, um, because of my fatigue and brain fog, and they can help with that. Um, but to be honest, I think it's kind of it's a bit of a flawed approach to just use stimulants to kind of get through. And I know I'm kind of pulling from some ideas from like some people I follow and listen to, like Josh Mason and stuff like that. And I get that for a time they can work because I've used everything from like Ritalin to Adderall, which were prescribed. It's not something I just tried to give me energy, to caffeine, like high amounts of caffeine, um, like matcha and other stuff. I think matcha is generally okay, generally safe. Um, I think because it's not um, it's also combined with like kind of antioxidants and theanine, which kind of balances out. It balances out. I think. I think I'm just not a big fan of coffee, to be honest, for a number of reasons. I think like a lot of the, especially commercial brands, cheaper brands of coffee, um, there's typically a fair amount of like mycotoxins or potential for mycotoxins. A lot of people are similar to them, and that's why it causes jitteriness. Um, and it's kind of a diuretic. It kind of can like leach minerals and stuff like that. And I think it is better if you get better quality coffee grounds like organic or like the bulletproof, or I think the whatever guy Dave asked for his new company. I think it's like Danger Coffee or something like that. And like blend it with like fat and stuff like that, and some other stuff. Maybe even balance it with some theanine. I've even like eggs. I think I've done that, but that's typically bulletproof like smoothie or drink or concoction. But yeah, I think generally speaking, it makes sense if you don't have energy to like kind of give yourself energy. But with anything you take, whether that be medication, even natural stuff, I would say, um, it's not just like this energy comes from nowhere, like it comes out of ether or whatever ether. Um, like you pull it from your adrenals, or you pull it from like your Jing, kidney energy. I'm not an expert in PCM, although I know a little bit. Um, and yeah, and it's typically if you're already depleting yourself kind of energetically, it's not really the best approach. Um, and you probably need to fix that depletion either with, it's usually a combination of things. Sometimes it can be herbs, sometimes it can be vitamins, minerals, and stuff like that. And this is something I still have brain fog and fatigue, so it's not like I'm perfect myself. I think matcha is fine and stuff like that. I think it's the same thing I want to say with a lot of medications, even to stuff that's like used for psychiatric purposes or statins or whatever like that. I know stuff comes with side effects, but I mean it pulls from like even like these um, neurotransmitters and stuff like that. Uh, like the stuff like increased neurotransmitters and stuff like that. I mean, it pulls from somewhere. And it's kind of a crude way, and it not to go kind of on that. I'll probably touch on that in a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think like um, I think Western society, especially especially hustle culture and the kind of like I believe I touched on it. There's a difference between kind of being productive and kind of efficient by being busy all the time, and more being like effective and actually getting stuff done and actually having a more balanced life and stuff like that. And people need to like go go go. Is doing stuff that's more like replenishing, like stuff like self care, which like for me is like sometimes it simply is like relaxing and stuff like that and meditating, but can also be like yoga or like movement, but also like acupuncture and massage and chiropractic and stuff. But also like not doing so much, like actually taking time. Like not everything needs to be productive. You don't have to be busy all the time. There are other stuff like I think herbs, especially because it's likely adrenals are affected if you're kind of like depleted, burnout. And one way like is to take like a lot of ashwagandha. Like I've taken like a tablespoon or so, a good quality like from the whole root and plant and stuff, not just like an extract because those are kind of iffy. But also there's other stuff I do think that can kind of replenish, but also give you energy as well too. Like methylene blue, I think a good quality extract. I haven't really seen too many downsides because it affects mitochondria. I think DR Bose can be a effective kind of remedy at times too. Um, and there's also like some other herbs and stuff like that, but this is something that you probably consult with like a herbalist or like a traditional Chinese medicine. But yeah, and stuff that like just replenish your adrenals and stuff like that. And but also it could be like vitamins and minerals and supporting like methylation and stuff like that because that could be depleting. Um, and then because generally if there's like a lack of energy, lack of like brain fog that's causing something and more attributing or more like working and focusing on the core the issue, and working on that depletion. Um, it could be also like mental, physical burnout as well too. It's usually a combination as well too. I'm speaking from quite a bit of experience. You know, I have used like there was a rather stressful, I would say stressful kind of high-paced job that I drank a lot of coffee at, and I generally the only time I really drink coffee is when I'm working. I don't really drink it on my off days. I think since all my health stuff, I feel like a bit more sensitive to it, and I believe according to my genetics, I'm a fast caffeine metabolizer, so it goes through my system quite fast anyways. I do sometimes like I'll have like some diet or zero sugar soda. We'll have some or some other sources aside from matcha. I think matcha is generally, I want to say, kind of probably the best. There could be possibly, I think, mushroom coffee that either uses a mix of coffee grounds and mushrooms, or just mushroom. But yeah, I mean, it kind of seems like kind of common sense to me, but it just feels like stimulants and energy drinks. And I think the amount of caffeine that's in them is kind of a lot. If it's like over 100 milligrams and stuff like that, and there are some other stuff. There are some that are kind of like low on caffeine or low or caffeine free that maybe have other stuff in them, but they also generally have a lot of other stuff like the bad form, like the worst forms of B12, like Psynautical and often some other stuff that it's just not really the best. I think the Fit Aid ones I have used from time to time, and they have like some stuff that kind of I believe works on like it seems like it replenishes and kind of helps energy wise because it has I want to say some nootropics and other stuff like that. I have used modafinil and stuff. I do find that effective. I think when I was first trying it, I took too high of a dosage and it was like kind of too much, and then I kind of backed off of it. I mean, at a pinch you could use that, but that's really borrowing, like, to quote, like, or kind of for Josh Mason, you're borrowing from like tomorrow's energy, or your energy from, and it's eventually will caught up with you. I mean, that's why most people, they have a caffeine crash and they have to take more caffeine or something like that. So yeah, and it's better to just replenish your adrenals and kind of address the energy deficiency and energy depletion and stuff like that. And that way you already have high energy or normal amount of energy. Because typically if your body's working defective, inefficiently, then your body won't be needing stimulants and stuff like that. And I get that also that they're also a bit addictive because it works on the dopamine pathways and dopamine and let me look it up. Dopaminergic. Yeah, it works on the dopamine pathways. I have a hard time saying that. Dopaminergic, energetic. And so like it like makes you feel good and stuff like that. But also you'll feel good if you are addressing your adrenal issues and your underlying energy issues and depletion and stuff like that, which is like from Ayurvedic, well, some from Ayurvedic and also traditional Chinese medicine. So anyways, yeah, ashwagandha, kind of in summary, ashwagandha and kind of stuff that replenish your adrenals, adaptogenics. I've tried kind of variety. I like to use kind of a mix of them. You can kind of take too much at a time, and some mushrooms as well too. They can be helpful as well too. But taking a blend of those and seeing how those affect. Some of those can be more stimulating, and some can be more relaxing. I found it kind of depends on how your body reacts. But ashwagandha, I want to say, is generally well tolerated, and especially kind of at higher dosages. So yeah. Anyways, I hope that helps. Hope that helps, and yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys all later. Hope everyone is doing well. I'm still a little stuffed up from I don't know what. I think because I'm doing some kind of like kind of gut healing, colon cleansing and stuff, and I think it may be clearing out some kind of like bacteria and stuff. I'm starting some other cleanses some as well too. So yeah. Well, see you all later. Bye.